Hey BookTube, this is Friday Reads.
I got my ticket for the long way round.
I'm Jen and I talk about audiobooks. And once in a while I will talk about an audiobook that I also own in print. And in this case I read Nora Roberts' The Last Boyfriend last week. And I listened to it on audio. It's narrated by MacLeod and he was phenomenal. And this is book 2 in the Boonsboro Inn trilogy. So it's the middle book in a series, but I read it like a standalone and it was fine. I don't think that I missed anything, but I'm really surprised. I had a friend tell me recently, or a while ago, that I should read Nora Roberts. She said, you like that chick lit, contemporary romance stuff, you should read Nora Roberts. So I thought, well, okay, and I'm so surprised because, I read a lot of new adult and I don't read a lot of straight up chick lit, adult, contemporary romance. But I do have some favorite authors. One of those favorite authors is Jill Shalvis, and I love her because her dialogue is so quick and it's so funny, and the story moves along at a pretty good pace, and you kind of know what to expect. It's almost like she spices it up a different way every time. Well, it just moved really slowly. And I think maybe what threw the pacing off a little bit is that the two main characters in this book are affected in a lot of ways by the other characters, the side characters. And 2 of them are from the first book and 2 are from the next book. And then you have a ghost and that whole thing. And then you have some peripheral people just who are in the story. But all of those stories, all of those story arcs are going on at the same time that the main story is going on, and it was almost like the balance was off. Like the main story got overshadowed by that in a few ways, and it just didn't move very fast. It took its time to kind of meander on along. Now, don't get me wrong, I love these characters. Owen was so good. He's Mr. Obsessive, guy that needs to have lists and everything done in order and on time, and he needs to organize and have all this lead time before he does anything. And then you've got Avery, who is a redhead, fly by the seat of her pants kind of a person, and the perfect counterpoint to him. And they've been friends all their lives, and so now it's like, well, should we try out this romance thing? And so maybe that's part of it too, just the nature of the story. I don't know. But I gave it 3 stars, and that really was brought up to 3 stars by the narration by MacLeod because he was so good. So I don't know. I'm going to maybe go on to the next one. I have that on audio. I have the first book in print. The third book I have on audio, and this book I have on audio. So I don't know. I'm interested, but I don't promise that I'm going to love it. Also last week I finished up the novella Under the Mistletoe by Jill Shalvis. Maybe that's why I had such a dim view of this, because I had just read a Jill Shalvis novella. It's book 6.5. It's called Under the Mistletoe, and it's all about Mia, who is the daughter of Maddie and Ford. And Maddie and Ford are the 2 main characters from this book, which is called The Sweetest Thing. And I read it as an ebook, and it was very sweet and quick, and kind of the story of Mia and her boyfriend Nick navigating their relationship, and a little sweetness at holiday time in Lucky Harbor, which I want to go live there. Yeah, so it was sweet and good, and I gave it 4 stars. I also read A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens, and I don't do Dickens. Dickens and I don't get along at all because everything he writes is so bleak and dark, and no, I don't like the time period. I don't know. But I was having lunch with my sister the other day, and she said, have you read Dickens' A Christmas Carol? And I said, no, I've never read it, but I know the story. Obviously, everybody knows the story. She said, you should. It's an amazing story of redemption. And I thought about it later, and I thought, I should read that. So I did. So I want to talk about that in a separate video, so I will leave that for later. But that was another thing that I finished this week. Quick little story. I think it was like 240 pages on my iPad, but the print is a little bigger on my iPad, so it's probably less than that. And lastly, I finished up the Starbound trilogy with Their Fractured Light. This is by Amy Kaufman and Megan Spooner, and it was narrated on audio by Kim, my guest, and MacLeod. Well, narration, first off, was spectacular. It was just so good. Now, Kim, my guest, has a really high-pitched voice, and I don't always like her. But in this case, it was perfect. It was really good in terms of the personification of the character, because the character physically described is relatively a small person, and so it only stood to reason that she would have a relatively high voice. So, you know, it wasn't annoyingly high, and I really liked that. And she was able to lower her register for all the male characters too, in a, you know, a very acceptable way. So I really liked her narration. And then MacLeod Andrews, you know, why do I even need to say how good he is? Because he's phenomenal. So, okay, right there. This was a great conclusion. It really was good. It brought the characters from the first book and then the second book and then these two main characters for the third book all together. And basically it ties up the whole story arc involving aliens from another dimension. And you have one big bad alien that wants to annihilate humans, and it kind of descended into almost a invasion of the body snatchers kind of a story. I really liked it. I mean, I liked all the characters and I liked the story, but the way that the plot tended to culminate was just kind of like, really, okay. It just kind of, I don't know, it just went a little over the top for me. So I liked it a lot, and I liked this series, but it didn't affect me the way I thought it was going to. I really thought it was going to be this amazing, blow you out of the water conclusion, and I don't think it was. I think it was a very good, satisfying conclusion, and as conclusions go, I think, I don't know, it just got a little cartoonish there for a while. So anyway, finished that one, gave it 4 stars, really liked it, and now I am in the process of downloading on audio a book called Holiday Kisses, which is a short story anthology with some authors that I've never heard of, but that apparently are pretty good in terms of chick lit. So I'm kind of in that mood, you know, it's like, give me some holiday romance, just whatever. So this is called Holiday Kisses. It's by Shannon Stacy, J.C. Burton, Allison Kent, and Helen K. Dimon, or Dimon, or whatever. It's D-I-M-O-N. And the 4 narrators are MacLeod Andrews, right there, Oliver Wyman, Therese Plummer, who I'm also very fond of, and then Gail Hendricks. So I don't know if I'm going to like all of those stories. It's just 4 short stories, but you know, it's enough to kind of get me through the weekend and into something else. I don't have a clue what I want to read. I think I'm kind of in a book slump. And you know, honestly, I think maybe what I'm going to do is maybe just listen to the Conquered Earth series. The first 2 books are out on audio. They're narrated by Kirby Hayborn, and I have the 3rd book. It's not ever been released on audio, which really ticks me off. But I have all 3 books, and I thought, you know, maybe I should just go back and listen to them again, because I know they're fabulous. I know I love them, but I've never read this last book. So if I listen to the other 2, then it will refresh my mind in terms of the story, and I can finish up with this one. So maybe I'll do that. So that was my week, and that's my weekend. What are you reading this weekend? Anything holiday-ish? Anything Christmassy? Anything magical? Anything fun? Let me know. I would love to know what you're reading, so maybe it will give me some good ideas of what to read next. Like I say, I'm just kind of in this slump. I don't know. You know, I'm never without a book, but I'm frequently without a book that I'm really jazzed about. So I'd love to be jazzed about a new book, so let me know. And that's it for now for me. Now, I don't know if I'll be back next Friday because it's Christmas. So anyway, let me know what you're reading, and have a great weekend and a very Merry Christmas. And I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.
When I'm gone, you're gonna miss me when I'm gone. You're gonna miss me by my walk. You're gonna miss me by my taco. You're gonna miss me when I'm gone.